59 lives lost, over 130 in hospital, an entire village in mourning. The Kallakurichi hooch tragedy is certainly a blot on the MK Stalin government. What led to this man-made tragedy? Vanakkam, this is T. Suresh Kumar. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. Earlier this month, the MK Stalin-led India bloc had scored back-to-back landslide victories in the Lok Sabha election. The ongoing assembly session would have ideally offered a platform to celebrate this historic achievement of Stalin, who is also the president of the DMK. However, the Kallakurichi hooch tragedy that rocked Tamil Nadu last week has now overshadowed the electoral victory of the DMK front. A hooch tragedy of this proportion in this day and age, especially when the rest of South India has not seen anything on this scale in the last decade, is certainly a blot not just on Tamil Nadu but also on the Stalin government. Just last year, 22 persons had died after consuming a methanol-laced brew in Kallakurichi's neighbouring districts of Villupuram and Chengalpattu. Back then too, the Chief Minister had taken certain token measures like announcing compensation for the victims and their families, besides transferring and suspending police officers. Clearly, no lessons have been learnt from the past. Worse, this time there was a miserable initial attempt to cover up the tragedy. In fact, around noon on June 19th, when reports were trickling in about some deaths in Kallakurichi, I had contacted our local correspondent S. Prasad. Prasad had by then spoken to the district collector Shravan Kumar Jatavat, who had flatly denied that these deaths had anything to do with consumption of hooch. Instead, he attributed other reasons for the deaths. In fact, the local police also had told journalists that there was no cause for panic and that the cause of the death of 3 persons was being asserted. However, when our correspondent rushed to Karunapuram, the epicenter of the whole incident, he found telltale signs of a great human tragedy unfolding before his eyes. Reports have now surfaced that, believing the collector and the police, the people who were affected by the consumption of the methanol-laced brew had failed to take initial medical care. Perhaps the Justice Gokuldas Commission that has been constituted to probe this episode would do well to examine whether this initial attempt to cover up the whole tragedy ahead of the assembly session had led to an increasing human casualty in Karunapuram. The collector has since been transferred and the superintendent of police Samay Singh Meena has been suspended. What has however come as a shocker are ground reports that clearly suggest that the local bootlegger Govindraj alias Kannukutti, who has been arrested by the CBCID now, had a very free run in entire Karunapuram and its neighbouring regions. The people of Karunapuram, a village that predominantly has inhabitants belonging to the scheduled caste, are now on record talking about the exploits of Kannukutti. Several families in the village have lost their breadwinner, and in one house, 3 teenage children have been orphaned after their parents consumed the hooch. Kannukutti's own family members are on record conceding that he was into the business of illicit distilling and sale of illicit liquor. In fact, he had an open run in the village, so much so that he would run his business operations almost 24/7 and also undertake door deliveries in two-wheelers. Police now admit that Kannukutti was arrested several times in connection with prohibition-related cases and also booked under the Gundas Act in the past. In fact, considering that Karunapuram is located a few hundred meters away from the local police station, it would be naive to believe that Kannukutti was carrying on his illegal business without the support or patronage of local politicians and policemen. The Kalvarayan Hills in Kallakurichi has remained as an epicenter of illicit distilling for many decades now. Police now say that it is from Kalvarayan Hills that Kannukutti would usually source his country arak from. Just that this time he had mixed methanol in the concoction. Methanol is an industrial solvent that has been the cause for several hooch deaths in Tamil Nadu in the past as well. That Tamil Nadu has witnessed back-to-back hooch tragedies in less than a year is a bit concerning. Just before 22 people were killed last year in the twin hooch tragedies in Chengalpattu and Villupuram district, the state government had taken pride in informing the assembly that Tamil Nadu has been free from hooch-related deaths in the previous 14 years. Before that, a hooch tragedy of this proportion was witnessed in late 2001 when 3 consecutive hooch tragedies took place in and around Chennai. Those tragedies had consumed the lives of more than 100 people. In fact, soon after these deaths, in 2002 January, the then Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam had for the first time introduced a cheaper variety of Indian-made foreign liquor through the wine shops. This cheaper brew was available for Rs 15 per 100 ml. The argument of Pannirselvam at that point was that because people do not have access to quality brew, they ended up consuming a methanol-laced arak, which led to deaths. The state in fact has a very long history of prohibition and lifting of prohibition. In fact, between 1981 and 87, the MGR government had allowed the sale of arak and toddy in Tamil Nadu, and subsequently even the Karnataka government had allowed the sale of arak and toddy. Interestingly, around the time that arak was sold in Tamil Nadu legally, there were no deaths related to hooch. The hooch related deaths became a regular problem only after 1991 when Tamil Nadu completely banned the sale of arak and toddy. Subsequently, although there have been demands from different organizations to allow toddy tapping, the government has remained stubborn and refused to yield to such demands. In fact, now it's been close to 2 decades since Tamil Nadu established a monopoly on retail vending of Indian-made foreign liquor through the TASMAC, the Tamil Nadu State Marketing Corporation. On and off, there have been several movements against the state carrying on liquor trade. However, it remains a hard reality that the TASMAC contributes to a significant part of the revenue of the state government. In fact, after this tragedy, the government had informed the assembly that its revenue through sale of IMF liquor via TASMAC during the last financial year has been more than 45,855 crore rupees. This revenue figure is in fact 1,734 crore rupees higher than the previous financial year. There have been allegations that people have got addicted to liquor because the state government itself sold it. And when these people were not able to afford liquor which is priced higher in the TASMAC shops, they turned to illicit arak. It is indeed an irony today to recall that the DMK and A.I.N.D.I.A as well as some other political parties had evangelically battled for prohibition in Tamil Nadu during the 2016 assembly elections. That campaign was spurred by the death of Shashi Perumal, an anti-liquor activist, in 2015. However, thereafter, none of these mainstream parties have spoken in serious terms about bringing in prohibition in Tamil Nadu. In fact, many prominent DMK leaders, when they are confronted by this promise of the party to introduce prohibition, rhetorically pose that did we promise prohibition in the 2021 Assembly Election Manifesto? It is often argued that implementing prohibition and effectively enforcing it is next to impossible. But at least the government could pay attention to increasing enforcement and ensure that the Prohibition and Enforcement Wing does its task in curbing the flow of illicit liquor. Besides, the government has in the last 2 decades hardly undertaken any campaigns to wean away people from liquor addiction. Neither has the government set up any de-addiction centers. Ideally, the government must explore the possibility of establishing de-addiction centers at every taluk level so that people who need help from liquor addiction can get them affordably. Hopefully in the future, the government would explore possibilities of running such campaigns against liquor addiction and also try to set up de-addiction centers in different parts of the state. On that note, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. I shall meet you in another video. Thank you.